So Rising of the Shield Hero Episode 1 not only got a double-length episode, but also it was streamed rather early, and thanks to that, nice fan subbers out there were able to subtitle this early, and that is why this review is up so early, a week ahead of the official release. And I have to say, this is one of those shows I've been very excited for because of what I've heard. Mainly because this is an isekai that I've heard very positive things from people who generally dislike these types of transport to another world shows. And when I hear people who naturally shit on these types of shows praising the source material, you know I'm going to be checking it out. And I won't lie, there are plenty of pretty bare-bone basic isekais that I have enjoyed, but recently I've looked for more originality if I am going to stick with it. And this is one of those shows that I think is going to be a very hot topic because I can already tell it's going to be a very popular show. The source material is widely praised, and this is the type of show that gets ate up in the anime community, good quality or not. But there's going to be a lot of people who are probably not even going to finish this first episode and are going to say it's very generic. But similar to when I first watched ReZero, which if I'm not mistaken was also a double-length episode, it starts your expectations off as here we go again, another generic transport to another world. But by the time the episode wraps up, it uses those expectations it makes you kind of think and start out with, and then uses it to show you, no, we're actually doing a lot differently with this type of show than you first expected. And the first episode I thought did a lot right. The idea to this show is actually pretty interesting. It starts off very similar to what you would expect. So you got these four characters transported to a kind of medieval world. We're gonna be dead soon. You guys are the chosen hero. Each has a certain class. Our main character is classified with the shield. That's his weapon. Even though it's more of a defensive item, he's the weakest of the four. Everyone thinks he's useless because he has no knowledge on this world, where the others have played these MMOs or RPGs that are very similar to the world that they're in. And essentially it's like you guys gotta train, prepare, and deal with these ways. If you do, you'll be rewarded and then you can go home. That's the idea. And you start off thinking, okay, yeah, I mean, I've seen similar things done before, but we'll see where it goes. The thing I like with this show is how very early on, without you even realizing it, it's setting you up being like, man, this guy's kind of getting pushed around quite a lot. I mean, he's trying to be like, hey guys, let's do this together. And it just feels like he's out of place because these other three are very strong. They're very intelligent. They're pretty much showcasing why they're going to do well in this world, and our main character is not. And I like how over the course of this double-length episode, you're seeing it build more and more. So by the time the punchline comes that, man, this guy is beyond broken, he's betrayed, he literally gets a false rape claim on him. He's so screwed that the entire world shuns him out, and he's been robbed, he's been beaten down. He's essentially despising this world to the ultimate point that he's saying, I don't give a shit. And this is what I like about it. Like, this is what this show's doing a lot differently than the others, because typically you get thrown into a character who's like, I'm the isekai protagonist, I'm gonna get the harem, I'm gonna be the hero, I'm gonna save the day. And that's how he starts off, and that's why I think there's gonna be some people who are gonna actually drop the episode maybe around the halfway mark, if not sooner. But what I like is they use that kind of generic kind of formula to build the expectations of like, oh, here we go again. But you see it was done on purpose, so when the kind of reveal comes that this guy is, he kind of snaps and says, I don't care, you guys all suck, I'm going to do my own thing, I'm going to train, and I'm going to get the hell out of here. I don't give a shit about your world, I'm going to do my own thing. So when that kind of breakthrough comes, it makes those generic scenes earlier in the episode much more impactful, because you're seeing a guy who did start out as that traditional isekai protagonist who's now become almost like an anti-hero of this world, shunned out, but he embraces it and he kind of becomes his own kind of badass who actually is going to buy slaves to be in his party because no one wants to naturally join his party, so slaves are the best outcome. Like, this is the kind of character who you expect you're probably going to hate at certain points. He's going to make decisions that are morally wrong or maybe you just don't agree with, and that's kind of exciting because you don't see that with these types of series. Usually you are following the hero, and this guy, I'm sure, is going to have his hero moments, but really it's a guy who's been so shunned by the world his first day in, and it's exciting to watch that. I like how the overall world's been explored. It's very traditional to most like games you play. Like, they got each of the heroes kind of have a stat that they look at, they level up similar to any RPG out there. They each have a specific class weapon. What's kind of cool with our main character is how he does have a shield, but it does naturally level up. Depending on what he feeds it, he gets these different abilities. Like, he turned his shield into like this leaf that I think can maybe alter plants in the wildlife. I think that's the ability that it was doing. So it's kind of interesting how they're exploring the overall power system, but even though the world itself, you can kind of feel like, oh yeah, I've played a game similar to this, or I've seen an anime similar to this. What I like about it is how it wasn't really trying to make the world that interesting, at least in the first episode. It's very possible down the line it could be the monsters that they're fighting, how they're training. You've seen this done before, but it's more about how the character's mindset is being explored in this world, how right away he knows shit about this world. He's not only is he lacking in knowledge, he's lacking in skill, and while that's being explored, it's pretty exciting. One of my favorite moments was when the characters were kind of sitting around talking and they were saying, hey, this is like this game I played. No, you're stupid. This is clearly like the game I played. No, you're wrong. This is like the game I played. Where our main character, he's like, it's kind of like a light novel, isn't it? He's very out of place, and all these characters, they come from seemingly different Japans, different alternate realities possibly, different worlds. They don't share the same presidents. They don't share the same knowledge, so they're very different and out there. So it kind of is interesting because they all start out very calm, like, oh yeah, I'm the Isekai protagonist. This is everything I've dreamed for. It gets very clear like this is something that could be very similar to the games that they were playing. Of course, the shield hero, he's got no knowledge. This is all fresh to him, but it's very much like, I like how they start you off being like, I'm not scared of this world. I'm gonna make this world my bitch. Like, it's very fun. It's very fun. It's comfy. But the thing that makes this so good, and I'm really glad it was a double-length episode, because if this was 2 parts, like we had to wait week to week, this is a series that I think would easily be dropped, but because it is a double-length episode, I think there's going to be quite a few people who will stick through it to the very end of this episode and say, oh, the generic scenes at the beginning, they actually served a purpose to showcase the character's mindset. Because if we just jumped into this character being like, screw this world, it wouldn't have the same kind of kick to it, because we're watching a character who probably a lot of us started off thinking like, I don't care. This guy could get his head cut off. This guy can get betrayed. I don't really care. But the snapping and how he's kind of presented to this world near the end of the episode, it kind of makes all those scenes actually mean something. And that's why I mentioned Re:Zero, because it had a very similar outcome where you're like, this guy's just transported. Oh shit, big twist. I can stick by this. I always enjoy series that kind of take that overused formula, but they do something with its character to really showcase why it's so interesting. And from my knowledge, The Source and Heroes was one of the original isekais that a lot of people have been begging, like, give this one an anime, not like transport to a world with a smartphone, things like that. Like, I constantly have seen this series referenced. I don't know if it was the first or just one of the originals, or maybe it was just one that did it so damn well that people were like, why are these other shitty anime getting adaptations and not this gem? But I am very much looking forward to, because you got characters like, when you have this pretty girl who's the only one saying like, I'll join your party, she's gonna betray you. And I just like how horrible they made this character, literally making false rape allegations, which is one of the worst things you can do to a person, and watching the world unfold, because that was so good. It really, really was. It very much seems like probably she was in cahoots with one of the other heroes there. Or maybe he's just being used too, but just the way the character was being explored was so damn well. They used all these generic building blocks to actually execute something that felt fresh and interesting in a genre that has been oversaturated with transporting someone to another world and making them the hero. This time we got a guy who was so fed up within his first day that that's going to be exciting, exploring over the 2 cores that it's supposedly going to run for. Overall, the visuals, it's hard to tell because the upload that I did watch, the compression wasn't the best, so some of the visuals that I thought may have looked a little lackluster could actually just be from the compression. I won't know until Crunchyroll uploads their official release, but still, I like the overall aesthetic. I like the character models. The world looks pretty much traditional, what you would expect if you heard, hey, here's another transport to another world. It's kind of like a fantasy, high fantasy. Like, this is what you would expect. It looks like a game, it feels like a game, and there wasn't a lot of action past our main character punching a couple of slime balls, so it's hard to really tell the overall, like, how high quality it will be, but I like the overall look to it. The things that kind of really stuck out to me personally came from the sound, first of which the main character's voice acting. Holy hell, when he was snapping and breaking and just not giving a shit, that voice acting was incredible, and if that's the type of quality we could expect from him going forward, that's going to be amazing. Also, the background music. This episode gave us a little bit of a taste of quite a few tracks, some more acoustic kind of somber tracks, some more just kind of ambient kind of stuff you would expect to hear when you're walking through a forest. And if this is the type of quality that we can expect in the music going forward, I wouldn't be surprised if this comes out as one of, if not the best soundtracks of the season, because it was damn fine to listen to. Episode 1 of The Shield Hero, I think, is going to be a very interesting series to follow in terms of discussions for the first month, because it's going to be one of those shows I can easily see people saying it's generic, it's a mess, and I think that's going to mainly happen because people aren't going to sit through the entire episode, which I can't really blame them if they do, because we have had so many series that are just the first half of an episode. I'm the hero, I'm going to save the day, I'm going to get a harem. But from my knowledge, this is a character who isn't really about using and manipulating people in a sexual way. It's more of he's going to use people as tools to get him across this world and just get the hell out of here. That's from my understanding of what I've heard, but I think this is going to be one of the more standout series of the season because it's damn fun. It's doing something interesting with its main character. The world so far has been interestingly explored, like starting a character off who's typically, I'm the badass, and they're already overpowered, starting them off as the weakest in the world, the least knowledgeable, watching him actually grow a party, that's pretty exciting to me. But if you did watch early, or if you're just catching this video when it officially goes up next week, let me know whatever you thought of Rising Shield here, episode 1, anime originals like myself, or people who do know the source material, your overall thoughts. Let me know whatever you're feeling, and be sure to like the video if you did enjoy, and also hit that subscribe button if you want to see more content from me in the future. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.